Sri Ravindra Chamaria, Mrs. Chamaria, his family, and guests. I am indeed honored to be here today to cheer Mr. Chamaria and other people at Akshaya Patra who have made this wonderful initiative successful and who have an aspirational goal of providing midday meal to 5 million children. Congratulations on a great piece of work. You have indeed made our lives worth living for all of us by your extraordinary commitment to this great cause. It is a wonderful feeling to be here today at the celebration of an extraordinary human effort at bringing hope, joy, confidence, and better future for India's less fortunate children, children who are hungry and who had no hope of absorbing what the teacher taught them in the school. It is nice to be amongst you, the heroes, the people who are supporting a revolution in their own low-key but very effective ways. You are indeed people who are wiping the tears of the eyes of the poor children that we saw on the wonderful video and the presentation that was made before I spoke. You are people who raise our confidence that good things can indeed happen in India. You are people who have demonstrated that good deeds delivered gently with affection can indeed obliterate the most vicious evil that we see around us. Your people who give confidence, faith, and hope to all of us Indians that we indeed can solve our problems. As all of you know, India has been making spectacular progress thanks to the success of our private sector, thanks to the wonderful citizens who have conducted themselves as worthy citizens of this society. There are many, many pieces of statistics that I can quote to support my thesis that there is a section of India that is indeed making spectacular progress. Our foreign exchange situation is very, very good. We're almost there at $300 billion. Our GDP growth rate is expected to be between 8 and 8.5%, the second highest in the world. We have been able to attract foreign direct investment of more than $20 billion. The Indian software industry continues to grow at an estimated 20-25% when most economies in the developed countries are floundering. We have added about 2 million four-wheelers and about 5 million two-wheelers last year. We are number one in telecom growth. We are almost near 800 million mobile and fixed line subscribers, making us the second largest telephone subscribers in the world, ahead of all developed nations, including the United States. We have 75,000 of our young children studying in the US, and perhaps about 130 to 140,000 children studying in different countries abroad. Even Bollywood dancing has become popular in countries. My own company is a microcosm of the revolution taking place in urban India. From a mere $250 and 7 people, we have come to a market capitalization of $40 billion, a revenue of $6 billion, and a net income of about $1.6 billion. We have gone a long way from the old days when it would take us 15 days to get permission to travel abroad for 1 day. We have gone a long way from the days when it took Infosys 2 years to get a telephone connection. All these are wonderful. There is no doubt about it. And almost everybody in this room has been responsible for this spectacular progress. While we can laud this wonderful progress, while we can pat ourselves on the back about one section of India that has done this wonderful achievement, there is another India which is touched by poverty, misery, and lack of confidence and lack of hope. We have 350 million Indians who are illiterates, the largest mass of illiteracy in the world. We have 250 million Indians who have no access to safe drinking water that you and I take for granted. We have 750 million Indians who have no access to safe and decent sanitation. We have 40% of our children suffering from malnutrition, as was described in the video. We have only one teacher for every 2 classes in rural India. Millions of children go hungry, and therefore they are not able to perform well in their studies. I believe truly that the future of India will be safe if and only if we can bring inclusivity to our growth, as our respected Prime Minister has been time and again exhorting us to do. We have to therefore raise the confidence of our poor people that compassionate capitalism is indeed the only way forward. We have to give them confidence that we will indeed take them with us in this wonderful journey that you and I have embarked upon. This requires creating hope in them through decent education and decent opportunities. Such success in education, as was pointed out by the wonderful narrator who is present here, requires that children are given nutritious food so that they have the energy to study well and succeed. This is where Akshaya Patra becomes very, very critical. This is where people like Mr. Chamaria and others who are the pillars of this movement become extremely critical for the success of India. India has perhaps 1 or 2% of its citizens who can indeed match or exceed global standards in engineering, in management, in finance, and in marketing. India is also a huge population living in poverty that needs our help, that needs your help. This offers an excellent opportunity to apply the best practices globally to bring solutions to the population living in poverty. Akshaya Patra to me is a prime example of how this has been done and how this can be done. Akshaya Patra is also a celebration of a wonderful public-private partnership. I congratulate Mr. Chamaria, Chanchal Patidas, Madhu Panditdas, Mr. Mohandas Pai, Dr. Deshpande, Mr. Ramdas Kamath, other trustees, my own wife, and other people who have done a wonderful job in creating a global platform. As we saw there, we have an advisory board in the United States, in the UK, etc., etc. All of this has happened. Certainly the UK one has been the work of Mr. Chamaria. And therefore, we have a global platform for Akshaya Patra. And ladies and gentlemen, I want you to give Mr. Chamaria and others a big hand because they deserve our respect, they deserve our appreciation, they deserve our salute. As was pointed out, Akshaya Patra is also the largest NGO effort in this area, in this country in some sense. Feeding 1.3 million children from 8,200 schools in 8 states and 18 centers every afternoon is a Herculean task. Even if you assume that an average marriage amongst the urban upper middle class attracts 1,000 people, imagine holding 1,300 such marriages every day, day after day after day, making sure that hot food reaches the children on time, in all these 18 places, in these 8,200 schools, making sure those 1.3 million guests, small guests, indeed eat, and they have the energy and enthusiasm to attend classes in the afternoon. This is really not an easy task. This requires tremendous effort, tremendous commitment, and tremendous enthusiasm. But I can tell you one thing, none of this would have been possible except for the support of people like you. You people are on the sidelines cheering Mr. Chamaria and others who are running this marathon, and we are saying, friend, we are with you. We'll give you a glass of water. We wish you the best. Please run this marathon because this marathon brings us hope, confidence, joy, and enthusiasm. I'm also very impressed that Akshaya Patra has leveraged the power of technology in a big way, that food is prepared on time, it is hot, it is clean and dust-free as we saw on the video. The other thing that I get excited about Akshaya Patra is it is truly secular. There are so many schools where children from Hindu, Muslim, Christian, Sikh, you name it, all religions of this wonderful country partake of that food. And that is extremely important. It is non-discriminatory. Therefore, this is an ideal example of what NGOs can indeed do. Any rational discussion on such an initiative would say it is not possible to feed 1.3 million children afternoon after afternoon after afternoon. This is a great example of the adage, a plausible impossibility is better than a convincing possibility. I do not know how many of you have experienced hunger. I have. Thanks to an experience I had while hitchhiking in Niš, a border town between Bulgaria and what was then Yugoslavia and now Serbia. I was incarcerated in the railway station of Niš for about 76 hours. Before that, I had not eaten for 36 hours, and then I was put on a train to go to Istanbul, which was a journey of 21 hours. For a total of 113 hours, I had not taken water or food. And I was hungry, I was angry with the system that penalized an innocent person. Now, that is the kind of feeling that those children would have, poor children would have, if they are left without proper nutrition, if they don't have hope of getting a lunch, and if they are unhappy. I can assure you that you and I cannot be unhappy. You and I cannot be certain that our future will be safe, because these children, when they have no hope that they will indeed be able to make their future better, they could resort to initiatives that is not good for them, and that's not good for the country, and that is completely unfair to them. Therefore, I think you and I have an extraordinary responsibility to make sure that these children indeed do not suffer for no fault of theirs. Let me give you a story as to why it is so important to introduce this midday meal scheme, not just for the 1.3 million children that Mr. Chamari and others have been able to do today, but for perhaps every child in the country that needs it. When Mr. M.G. Ramachandran was the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, and then he had an ailment, and then he was in hospital in the United States, he was in coma, but he won his election by a landslide. And when the TV people and the newspaper people went and interviewed lots of poor people in various villages in Tamil Nadu as to why they voted for him, the mothers, almost all of them said that, look, this man brought hope to our children. Because I don't know how many of you know, he was the first person to introduce midday meal scheme in the country. I believe he asked his chief secretary at that point in time to introduce midday meal scheme. But somehow this civil servant took a lot of time and nothing happened. And one day, Mr. M.G. Ramachandran called him and said, man, what happened? Why haven't you done? And he raised, why it was not possible, etc., etc. And Mr. M.G. Ramachandran said, if you don't do it within the next 1 month, you will not be in your job. And he said, you know why I am so passionate about this? It is because, and he said, I went without food as a child, afternoon after afternoon after afternoon. I have suffered and understood what it is for me to go without proper nutrition. And I, as the Chief Minister, will not let this happen to the children of this state. And therefore, I think mother after mother who were interviewed said, we voted for Mr. Ramachandran because he brought hope and confidence to our children. I can go on and on and on, but let me say this. This particular initiative is an extraordinary initiative because this initiative leverages, as I said before, technology. It has scaled up wonderfully. No other NGO has been able to scale up as well as this in such a short period of time. It is non-discriminatory, it is secular, it feeds every child irrespective of what caste, what religion the child belongs to, and it is indeed an experiment that all of us should stand up, salute, cheer, and support. Therefore, my friends, I do believe that it is the responsibility of every one of us to make sure that we give a helping hand to people like Mr. Chamaria, who have said this is an extremely important initiative and we want to bring smile on the face of the children. It is remember that success is about bringing smile onto the face of people around you. In fact, I was once asked at Davos what success is at a plenary session, and I said success is about bringing smile onto the face of the people when you enter a room. And this, I believe, is a great opportunity for every one of you to be successful. Because by your action, by your generosity, by your kindness, you will indeed bring smile onto the face of millions of children, as we saw in that video. Remember that in these days of internet and instant communication, the shine of all the success will go away if we do not solve this basic issue of hunger in our schools. You will not be able to stand in front of your colleagues unless we have equitable progress. No matter how much we talk about the wonderful progress that India has made in front of our foreign colleagues, they will all say, look, friend, there are zillions of people in your country who are going hungry. And what is it that you have done? You may be able to eat a good meal in Grand Hotel, but that's not progress. The progress is when every child in this country is confident of access to basic education, basic health care, basic nutrition, and basic shelter. Therefore, if we do not bring hope to these children, they will lose faith in our society and perhaps turn to violence and destroy all the good that has happened. For the first time in the last 400 years of this country's history, the rest of the world has recognized India as being capable of doing something worthwhile. Therefore, we cannot let this wonderful progress we have made go astray because of our negligence of those unfortunate, helpless children. Therefore, when you tuck your child into the bed in the night after a healthy and sumptuous meal, remember that there are millions of children who will sleep hungry. Therefore, it is your and my responsibility to ensure that not only our children have their stomach full, we have to make sure at least another child, at least maybe some of us may be able to feed 1,000 children, 10,000 children. Whatever we can do, we have to contribute and make sure that those children too take part in the wonderful progress that we have had, and those children have hope, they have confidence and enthusiasm in the future. We at Infosys say that the softest pillow is a clear conscience. In order for you people to have that soft pillow when you sleep in the night, in order that for you to sleep well, I think you have to have a clear conscience and there is no way that you and I will have a clear conscience unless we can take a small part of our wealth, unless we can take a small part of our disposable income and contribute it to less fortunate children. Many times people ask me why I am nice and helpful to many children. I just tell them that I received so much help from others when I was a child. I received such an inexpensive education from my society, and I have to give back to that society, and that somebody else will indeed help my children when they need. All of us, most of the people in this room have received wonderful education at almost no cost when you compare it with other countries. Therefore, it is our responsibility to ensure that other children too receive a part of the benefit that we have accrued because of all the goodness that our leaders, our political leaders, our bureaucrats, and our planners have given all of us. Therefore, by this action, by this kindness, by this generosity, let us make this a better country and this world a better world. Thank you very much.